All right, good morning, Hillgrove. This is Mr. Samir here, your IT manager. Um, Today we'll be going through the CMP Plus Module 4, and we'll be talking about the Acceptable Use Policy, or AUP for short, and this will be uh, aligned with the National Digital Learning Program. All right, so what are the National Digital Learning Program outcomes, or NDLP for short? Okay, first of all, Hillgrove's aim is for students to achieve our desired school National Digital Learning Program, or NDLP, and here are the outcomes, right? We have collaboration, which is to use technology to support collaborative learning. We have affirmation, which is to check for understanding and celebrate effort. We have respect, which is to build an inclusive school community, as well as excellence, to be better learners. All right, so CARE, these are the NDLP outcomes. Now, what is the acceptable use policy? Right, now this is a set of rules that Hillgrovians must abide by, and when you abide by these set of rules, we actually help Hillgrove as a school to provide a safe and conducive learning environment for all students. So now let's take a look at the AUP sectors. Right, the AUP, or the Acceptable Use Policy, is broken down into 4 quadrants, which all of you should know and take note of. The first quadrant relates to the general guidelines of the AUP. The second quadrant talks about the accounts, and especially all your school accounts for every student. The third quadrant talks about email and social media. You have gone through this segment before with Mr. Chan Weng Kit on cyber wellness modules. And the last quadrant talks about intellectual property and copyright. So let's look in detail of these 4 quadrants and what is it all about. The first one will talk about the general guidelines. All right, here are a few rules to take note of with general guidelines. The first one is that all users in Hillgrove are responsible for their personal learning devices. Now, this applies to all students. All right, the school will not be held for any damage, theft, or loss of their device. Now, in a case of loss or theft of devices, you must make a police report and report the matter to the school. Now, the second one talks about DMA, all right, or mobile guardian. Now, only personal learning devices installed with the school subscribed device management software, which is the mobile guardian, right? These devices can be used during the curriculum time in the classroom. Now, this applies mainly to the secondary 1 to 3 students. As you know, you have your iPads with you, so this rule will apply to you. Right, the next of the general guidelines talks about the fact that all Hillgrovians, all right, should ensure that that you bring your personal learning device home with you at the end of every school day. Now, we have had many reports of students leaving their personal learning devices or their iPads underneath their tables after the end of the day, or negligently leaving it at compounds such as the ISH, or leaving it in the canteen. We have a good set of school staff that actually have found these iPads, and usually they will have returned it to the general office, and the general office will then alert me. But I would like to remind all of you, all right, that you are required to bring your devices back home. All right, do not leave them in school. Right, and of course, a very important one for the secondary 1 to 3 students is to take note that you should ensure that your personal learning devices are fully charged before bringing it to school. There have been reports from teachers saying that students have always been bringing iPads to school that have only 10% of battery left. Now, students, you must take note that after 11 p.m., once the DMA locks down for sleep hours, you are very highly recommended to plug in your iPad and let it charge so that you have a full battery the next day of school. So remember on that. All right, the next set of general guidelines are as follows. Okay, same thing with the DMA. Users, all right, personal learning devices will be installed with the school subscribed device management software. In this matter, you would see the Mobile Guardian app on your iPads, right? And users should not attempt to uninstall or de-enroll themselves from the software. So once you've installed it, your iPad or personal learning device will have the school profile. So students do not, I repeat, do not try to delete the Mobile Guardian application or restore your iPad. Right? Now, users should only be using school-owned ICT facilities, equipment, and resources for the purpose of learning. Right? You should not be using it for any other purposes or personal use, such as gaming and engaging in social media platforms. Right? These are all strictly prohibited. Right? Now, when we talk about ICT facilities, we are referring to the school's computer labs, we are referring to the Mac World, we are referring to the electronics lab, and locations that are equipped with ICT equipment and resources. Now, this is for all students, all right? Users who misuse their personal learning device will be subjected to disciplinary actions. Now, I say this for all students is because this does not only apply for the iPads that are being used in the school, this will also apply to all users who are using their mobile devices as well in school. You all know the school rules. Please ensure you follow them strictly, unless your teacher has required you or has requested you to use your personal learning device. All these devices should be kept in your bags securely. Right? Some more guidelines to take note of. First of all, take note that the school reserves the right to confiscate, and or screen lock the user's personal learning device if you have misused them. Your parents will be informed to collect the device from the form teacher if needed to do so. Hillgrovians are responsible for any resources that is borrowed from the school for the duration of the loan. Now, there are some Sec 4 and Sec 5 students who are using the iPad minis, and this also applies to the secondary 1 to 3 students. When you have problem with your iPad, you can pass your iPad over to the IT team, and what we can do is we can issue you a loaned iPad for the duration of the time that we are required to repair your personal iPad. Okay, please make sure that you must take care of the devices, all right, and you will be bearing the cost of damage, theft, or loss due to any negligence, right, and or face disciplinary action in accordance to the school's discipline policy. So this applies to all students. Now, the next one we're going to talk about from this point forward will apply to all students in Hillgrove. This one is talking about the accounts which are school related. Now, first of all, users are responsible and accountable for all actions conducted by their own account. All right, so the own account refers to your Apple IDs, your student icon, Hillgrove Gmail, as well as your SLS accounts. These are the main 4 accounts. One more account I forgot is your Windows account as well, the IAMS account. So these accounts are all issued to Hillgrove student. And if you're not sure whether you have activated your accounts or not, you can find me in the staff room, all right? Or you can head down to the Computer Lab 4 to look for our school desktop engineers to talk about them. Okay, users are responsible for the security of your own account IDs and passwords. Make sure that your passwords and IDs are not shared with any other student. All right, and you are highly encouraged to change your passwords every 6 months. All right, so take note of that. Now, still relating to accounts, right? You should not use your accounts, right, for any illegal or unethical activities, okay, as set out by the Computer Misuse and Cybersecurity Act. Okay, now these include posting online remarks that are racially and religiously insensitive, vulgar, and or offensive statements, disruptive of public order, and intentionally causing emotional distress or harm to others. Okay, users or Hillgrovians should not use the devices to store or modify or create content, all right, that is defamatory in nature. Okay, so don't create unnecessary or illegal content using your devices. Okay, and students should not use any of it for any online trade, for instance, buying or selling of goods and services. So you're not allowed to use your personal learning device when you're in the school compound for all these items. Okay. Next on the list, we'll be talking about the email and social media aspects of the AUP. Now, all Hillgrovians are provided with an icon email, or we call it your student icon. Users should use their icon email for all learning purposes. So refrain from using other email accounts. Basically, use your student icon to relate to any email content. Okay, users should always use appropriate language when you are emailing or you're using social media. And also, users should not transmit language or material, right, that is profane, obscene, abusive, or offensive to others. So take note of all these, Hillgrovians. Okay, the last set of rules will be on intellectual property and copyright, and this still applies to all students. Okay, take note, students, you must comply with the trademark and copyright laws and all license arrangements. Users should not access, download, copy, or share any copyright materials, such as pictures, videos, or music, without explicit permission from the owner. Now, this is similar to what you have gone through with the CyberCool modules. The next two rules are, okay, users should not own, copy, or share any software, right, in an unauthorized or illegal manner. So you're not allowed to try to download these software and make copies of it, right, and then distribute it out to other people as well. Okay, and do take note, this is very important, Hillgrove Secondary School students, the rights of all materials and data created using the school's ICT facilities and resources. Right, that means if you're creating material or resources, okay, in the school's compound, all right, within Hillgrove Secondary School, right, these are jointly owned by the school and the user. So under school rules, if you have recorded things in the school, okay, you cannot publicize it on a school on a public domain, all right, such as YouTube and all that stuff, unless you get permission from the school. All right, so take note of that. Okay, so I've gone through all the segments and the quadrants for the AUP. Please take note that you can find all this online as well, right? And where do we find the Hillgrove's AUP online? Okay, we'll head over to the Hillgrove Nest portal. Okay, and from there, from the Hillgrove Nest portal, what you need to do is you need to mouse over the prerequisites top menu, okay, and select the acceptable use policy. Once you click on that, you'll be brought to the page where it says acceptable use policy, and everything that I've gone through for today's presentation, right, is all located on the website itself. To go to the Nest portal, you head over to our school's website to access it. Make sure you log in using your student icon. If you're not able to log in using your student icon and you need to reset your password, please scan the QR code at the front of the general office, or you can do it online, or you can head over to Computer Lab 4 to look for the school desktop engineers to assist you with resetting of your password. All right, with that, I've come to the end of my presentation. Thank you all for listening in and have a good day of learning ahead. Thank you all once again.